You believe that God is capable of anything?
No, God cannot do anything. I died on the cross.
And then was buried and raised after 3 days?
Buried and raised after 3 days.
Okay. Well, let's say, suppose I get crucified right now, and then I die.
Yeah.
And then I get, you guys bury me.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later, I rise up.
Yeah.
Should I say I'm God?
Well, I can promise you, sir, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very closely to everything you have to say.
Yeah, a lot of people will do, but does that entitle me to, let's say God, okay, you believe that God is capable of anything?
No, God cannot do anything. God cannot make a square circle. God cannot make 2 + 2 = 5.
So God is not perfect?
God is perfect only in a moral sense. God is not perfect in the sense that he's a computer that spits out perfect computer printouts called human beings who never err, who never sin.
So God cannot make me die and rise in 3 days?
Yeah, God can raise you to life.
Okay, so let's say if God decided now I get crucified and then I die and I get, and I'm buried, and then 3 days later God decides to bring me back to life. Does that make me God?
No, it doesn't make you God. But if you claim to be God in human form after you rise from the dead, I will listen very closely to what you have to say.
Even though God was the one who made me, go through all this process.
Yeah. And I'm sure that if you're that close to God, that he raises you back to life after 3 days, that if you're not God, you're not going to claim to be. You wouldn't lie. But I can promise you, if you die and rise from the dead, I'm going to listen very closely to everything you have to say, because the evidence is you're amazing.
Yeah, amazing, true, but does that make me God?
No, that's right, but Jesus claimed to be God in human form, and then he backed it up with a sinless life, amazing teachings, a death where he forgives his enemies, but most importantly, a resurrection from the dead. That validates his claim. I mean, I didn't claim that Jesus is God. It wasn't Constantine who made that up. Jesus himself claimed to be God. And then he dies and rises from the dead. That's important evidence that he's not blowing smoke, he's speaking the truth.
But in every historical record, there are aspects to those historical records that are not accurate. You cannot say that every single historical record is 100% accurate.
I agree.
So, and you're speaking about the witnesses as if it's like, as if you have 100% accurate account of those witnesses individual by individual, which I assume you don't. All your evidence is based on the scripture, on the Bible. You assume that the witnesses were accurate and everything else is accurate based solely on the scripture, on the Bible. And maybe some of those, or most of them, like I said yesterday, accurate. But the line where it says that Jesus is God, I don't think it's accurate. I don't think Jesus said so.
Okay, you've raised a great point. You're absolutely right. Some documents that are written are not accurate. They are inaccurate. Other documents that are written are accurate. So you and I agree. Now, obviously, the next question is, what tests do you use to determine what is accurate and what is inaccurate? What test do you use?
In the case of the scripture, in the case of the Bible?
Any book.
Yeah, let's use the Bible as an example. You don't have the physical actual Bible that was written, whenever it was written, the first time it was written. You only have a translation of a translation of a translation. And that's where inaccuracy occurs. You might have like 0.001 inaccuracy, but that matters. I mean, if you brought with you today an actual physical scripture, the same one they had when the Bible was written, I don't know when, then that makes a difference. And you open it and you say, this is the same exact one, and this is what Jesus said. You are relying on the English version. To me, it's not 100% accurate.
Okay, I am not relying on the English version. I had to learn Greek in seminary. We have over 5,000 Greek manuscripts or pieces of manuscript of the New Testament from the 1st through the 10th century AD, from Rome, Italy, down around the Mediterranean to Alexandria, Egypt. Over 5,000 Greek manuscripts. We have such a high degree of certainty that we really have what the authors wrote. It's incredible. There's no document from antiquity that can even approach the New Testament in manuscript evidence.